Diana Frances Spencer. The name already sounds royal, doesn't it? But long before the world knew her as a princess, she was just a quiet little girl growing up in the English countryside. She was born on July 1st, 1961, into the aristocratic Spencer family. Wealthy, well-connected, but far from perfect. Her childhood home wasn't exactly a place of peace. Her parents fought often, and when Diana was just 7 years old, they divorced. Her mom left, and Diana never quite got over it. She became quiet, withdrawn, but still kind. Even as a kid, people noticed something different about her. She had this gentle way about her. She listened more than she spoke. And even though life didn't start easy for her, there was always something special in her eyes. At 16, Diana met someone who would change her life forever, Prince Charles. Funny thing is, he was actually dating her older sister at the time. But something about Diana caught his attention. A few years later, when she was just 19, their relationship began. And suddenly, Diana's life became the center of royal headlines. In 1981, they got married. The whole world watched her dress, that train, the ceremony. It was the wedding of the century, a real-life fairy tale, or so it seemed. But Diana later said something chilling. "It was the worst day of my life." Can you imagine the whole world smiling at you while you feel trapped inside? That's the thing with her story. It always looked perfect on the outside, but inside, it was another story. Marrying a prince doesn't mean life becomes easier. For Diana, it became even more complicated. The palace had rules, so many rules. How to smile, what to wear, where to stand. Everything was about image. But no one asked how she really felt. Charles wasn't exactly Prince Charming either. Diana soon found out he was still emotionally tied to another woman, Camilla. That hurt, and it made her feel more alone than ever. She struggled with depression, eating disorders, and loneliness, all while being watched by the entire world. But here's what made her special. She didn't hide forever. She started speaking up. She found her voice. If there was one role Diana truly loved, it was being a mom. When Prince William was born in 1982, everything changed for her. Then came Harry in 1984, and she often said, "My boys are my whole world." But motherhood didn't magically fix her struggles. She was still hurting inside, still lonely, still stuck in a royal system where love didn't always come first. What made her different was how real she was with her children. She hugged them, took them to amusement parks, McDonald's, even dropped them off at school herself, things most royals would never do. Diana didn't want them to grow up in a bubble. She wanted them to see the real world, because she knew pain, and she didn't want her boys to be strangers to real emotions, like she once was. She didn't care about appearances anymore. She wanted to make people feel seen, and that's why the world loved her. In a world full of polished smiles and empty photo ops, Diana was real. She cried, she laughed, she cared. And she used her fame not just for charity events, but to actually change things. In a way, she became bigger than the royal family itself. She wasn't just a princess anymore. She was a symbol of empathy. By the early 1990s, the truth couldn't be hidden anymore. The fairy tale was broken. Diana and Charles were living separate lives, and the world knew it. In 1992, they officially separated. And in 1996, the divorce was finalized. Diana was no longer Her Royal Highness, but for the first time in years, she could breathe. Still, freedom came with a price. The paparazzi followed her everywhere. She couldn't walk down a street without flashbulbs exploding. They chased her car, they camped outside her home. They even tapped her phone. But through all the noise, Diana remained graceful, strong, human. She started living life on her own terms. And just maybe, she was starting to find happiness again. In 1997, Diana met Dodi Al-Fayed. He was kind, charming, and made her laugh. For a brief moment, it seemed like she had finally found peace. That summer, they vacationed together in the south of France. The paparazzi, of course, followed their every move. But Diana looked happy, for the first time in a long time. Then came the night of August 31st. Diana and Dodi left the Ritz Hotel in Paris, trying to escape the flashing cameras. They never made it home. The crash shook the world. People didn't just mourn a princess. They mourned someone who made them feel seen. Someone who gave love without needing anything in return. And just like that, the brightest light was gone. Too soon, too unfair, too heartbreaking. More than 2 decades later, Diana is still everywhere. In documentaries, in her son's eyes, in every heart that believes kindness matters. She changed the royal family forever, whether they admit it or not. She brought emotion, vulnerability, and humanity into a world of cold tradition. And maybe that's what made her unforgettable. Diana didn't just wear a crown, she wore her heart on her sleeve. The people's princess may be gone, but her light still shines. In every act of kindness, in every voice that dares to speak truth, Diana lives on. On the 6th of September, 1997, the world stood still, in silence, in grief, in disbelief, as millions watched a final farewell to a woman who had touched hearts across the globe. London was quiet that morning, but the streets were filled with flowers, with tears, with love, not just for a princess, but for someone who made people feel seen. 2 young boys walked behind their mother's coffin, and even in their silence, the whole world heard their pain. It wasn't just a royal funeral, it was a goodbye to kindness, to compassion, to a light that had gone too soon.
Goodbye.
As Elton John sang, "Goodbye, England's Rose," there wasn't a single dry eye, because the world knew we had lost more than a princess. We had lost Diana. But in every flower laid down, in every tear that fell, there was also gratitude for the love she gave, the truth she spoke, and the legacy she left behind. Goodbye, Diana. You may have left this world, but your light still lives on, in all of us.
And it seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind, never fading with the sunset when the rain set in. And your footsteps will always fall here along England's greenest hills. Your candles burned out long before your legend ever will. Loveliness we've lost, those empty days without your smile, this torch we'll always carry for our nation's golden child. Even though we try, the truth brings us to tears. All our words cannot express the joy you brought us through the years. And it seems to me you've lived your life like a candle in the wind, never fading with the sunset when the rain set in.